Hello everyone. In the first video we launched the Medusa 2.0 boilerplate on Railway. It took about 5 minutes and then we had a fully operational storefront and also a backend and the admin dashboard. And in the end of the video I also demonstrated how to customize it a little bit. So I did a change in the storefront and I pushed it to the Railway deploy pipeline, and a few minutes later that change was live. But what I didn't show you is how you can also run the boilerplate on your local machine. And there could be a number of reasons why you would want to do that, but two main reasons that I can think of is one, you want to not pay server cost while you're developing. So you want to take offline your Railway instance to not pay any server cost while you're developing. And then once you are happy with your result, you will push it and turn on your server again. And another one is simply to catch errors early on. So when you are making design changes, you probably want to see it on your local environment before you push it to your production environment. In case something might have been wrong, you want to catch it before you publish it to become live. So in this video, I'm going to go a little bit into depth how to run the boilerplate locally. And I will be publishing this blog post shortly after this video. And it describes what you need. There's a few things. The first and most important is, of course, to have the Medusa 2.0 boilerplate live. And there's a link to that here, how you can do that if you don't already have it. The next thing you're going to need is Git. That is the command line tool that we will be using to clone the source code from GitHub and push it back to GitHub. The next thing is a code editor of your choice. I'm using vscode. The link to vscode is right here. And the last and very important thing is Node.js. That is the runtime engine that makes this JavaScript project possible at all. It's also the engine installed on the Railway servers that runs it there. And when you download it, if you don't already have it, it's important that you get a version that is at least 20 or higher. So I've only tested the Medusa 2.0 project with version 20 and higher, and that's also the version I installed on Railway. So get version 20, or you can try 21 or 22, but I'm using 20 on Railway, and I think I'm using 22 on local. So both of these, everything above 20 should work. Okay, I'll get right into it. I'll actually launch a fresh boilerplate for this demonstration of this video. So I go to the initial blog post and scroll down to the deploy on Railway button. And I added this in here because I forgot to mention it in the first video, but if you deploy the template, you don't have to be the hobby user to deploy it, but it will only run on the cloud if you actually have the hobby plan used, that is $5. But if you want to use it locally anyway, you don't have to upgrade to the hobby plan. You can launch the template and then clone it to your local machine and run it there. And then later you can you can purchase the hobby plan to turn on the server if you want it to run in the cloud. So I'm going to just deploy the template as it is. I will not configure anything. Click deploy, and we have it, a completely fresh instance of the 2.0 boilerplate. As you see, I am on the hobby plan here, so mine is running perfectly in the cloud. I can access the publicly hosted storefront. Let's just check that it is up. It is up, and I go to store and I see some products, which means that the database was seeded. But we don't care about that today, because today we only care about running it locally. So I am selecting one of the two containers with the GitHub icon, and then I go to settings. And within settings, you see the section source repo, and this is the official boilerplate repository, and it is controlled, it's owned by me, which means that you cannot publish your own changes to this. So we need a clone of this that is personal for you. And the easiest way to do that is if you click the eject button down here, and you select your GitHub user, and you click eject service. And it just ejected, and you see now this is my GitHub username, but you will see your own GitHub username here, and then the name of the boilerplate dash something. And if we click on this, you'll be taken to your own GitHub page and see that this repository were indeed created just now. And in order to clone it to your local machine, I'll copy the URL, and then we need to open a Git terminal. I'll change directory into document, and I'll clone it with git clone, paste the URL, and the folder name will be local demo. Hit enter. Local demo already exists. And there we have it. Change directory to local 2.0 demo. And with the command code space dot, I can open VS Code. Now the project is open in VS Code. I see the backend and I see the storefront. And what I need now is a terminal. So I'll open a new terminal. And I actually want two, so I'll click the split button here. All right, in the first terminal, I want to go to the backend. So cd backend. And in the other one, I want to go to the storefront. So cd storefront. In both of them, we want to install dependencies, npm I, enter. And this will take a while, so I'll pause the video and come back as soon as the dependencies have been installed. Okay, this took a while, but eventually our dependencies have now been installed in both the backend and the storefront. And we need a little bit more configuration locally to make the whole project work. Let's start with the backend. So I'm expanding the backend directory in the source tree, and then I select this environment template file, and we're going to modify this quite a bit. But the first thing is that we remove the .template, and you'll now see that it's changed icon to a little setting thing. This means that it is now being used by the project. And there's a few things that we can delete because we're not working with Stripe or SendGrid right now, so these we don't need. We are also not going to be creating a new admin user, so we can delete these two. But what we're going to need most importantly is probably the database URL. And in this video, I'm not going to be using a locally hosted database. I'm actually going to be connecting directly to the production database. I think this is easier, and I don't need to be experimenting with data like products or anything like that. So I'll just be connecting to the production database. If you want to see how to connect to a locally hosted database in case you want to experiment with your data and not mess with production data, let me know. Then I can create a video where I spin up a locally hosted Postgres database and connect to that instead. It is not difficult, but it would make this video twice as long, so I'm not going to be doing it. But if we select the backend service on Railway and go to variables, then we should find the database URL. So let's see, here it is. And I'll just copy the value and I'll paste it in here. You see it has this very long URL, and I believe this part here is the password to the database, so it's secret. You shouldn't be sharing this with anybody really if you are using the production one. But this is a demonstration video and I'm going to be deleting the project afterwards, so I don't really care. I'll hit save, and then we want to build, so pre-compile the project. I'll say npm run build, and this might also take a while, so I'll pause the video. It didn't take too long, and now we got this build folder over here. So the project has now been compiled and it should be ready to run the backend. Let's try it. So npm run dev.development. Okay, so I actually got a runtime error regarding the Redis. So it didn't like the configuration of Redis. Let's delete the variable Redis from the .env file and then go to the Medusa config.js and remove everything Redis related. So I'm searching for Redis, and there is a module here that uses that variable. So let's comment out this. And there is one more thing, that is the Redis URL down here. Let's also comment that out. It's safe, and then we try to run again. And you see here, it didn't find the Redis URL, so it will create the fake Redis instance to simulate a Redis. Okay, so now that the backend is running, we can move forward with the storefront. I'll collapse the backend over here, and you should be getting the hang of it because it is quite similar. We need to locate the .env file, and then we need to keep the .local but remove the .template. And if you don't already have this template file, it is because you have pulled the template earlier. I added this file recently, and in that case you just need to create it. It's very simple. It's just .env.local, and the content needs to be exactly like it is here on the screen right now. We're going to leave it as is. We're just configuring that the backend is running on localhost 9000, and we can see here in the terminal that that is indeed where our backend is running. And the localhost of the storefront should be served on port 8000, so there's no conflict. When we have this file, then we can go ahead and run the project. So npm run dev again, hit enter. And it says that it is running on localhost 8000 and it is ready. Let's try to open it up. Yeah, this took a little while, but eventually we got there. And we see that the project is indeed running on the localhost. So it looks similar to the cloud version, but it's running on localhost. So let's try to make a change just to see that it works. So I'll go and I'll search for well done. Then I should find the text on the welcome screen, and it's the index.tsx file. So I'll just change this line here to confirm that we indeed are making changes. Test. I'll hit save, and then it should recompile. It did, and I'll tap back to the browser, and it updated already, and it says test. And when you want to publish your changes, then you head back to VS Code and you write git status, and you'll notice that a lot of files have been changed, and the Medusa config we don't want to publish because that's only for the changes we made should only be on our local instance. So the only change that I actually do want to publish is this file right here, because that's where I made a customization. So I will do a git add storefront source, and I believe this is the only file there. I'll hit enter and git status again, and we will see that the only file I'm now adding to the commit is the code changes that I want to publish. So then I can write git commit-m change text on welcome page and git push. It is now pushed. Let's head back to the repository and I refresh. And I see now change text on welcome page. There's 3 commits. And let's see it right here. Yeah, so that is the only change we published now, exactly like we wanted. I hope that demonstrates the process of running the boilerplate on your local machine and why it is useful, and also how you can publish your changes once you're happy with your results. That concludes this video. All right, see you next time. Bye.